Hello there. Irish citizens are no longer waiting for their police to clear migrant tented camps up. They are now stepping in themselves to prevent them being set up in the first place. As migrants increasingly head to the Republic of Ireland and the authorities there find it increasingly difficult to house them, the newcomers have been setting up unsanitary, health hazard temporary tented camps using government-supplied tents. So the Irish government moved in to clear those areas in Dublin up and send the migrants to more suitable accommodation. The latest one being the clearing of tents along the banks of the Grand Canal. But strangely, the camps keep re-springing up. But it has emerged that several refugees who attempted to set up camp were warned off by Irish locals, with the Daily Mail saying, "Several tents were seen pitched near the East Link toll bridge following the canal operation, but the men were quickly told to move on by locals." And the report went on to say that after that, over half a dozen were seen pitched up in Ringsend Park. However, at around 9:30 a.m, the refugees who tried to tent up there were told by a group of men to leave, or the matter would escalate. Looks like more secure accommodation is required. Accommodation that protects them by stopping them going out and about in the first place, maybe. And clearing the ad hoc, tented camps out quickly has become government policy, with the Irish PM Simon Harris saying that the days of them existing for weeks and months on end were gone. It's not going to happen, he said. Fences have also been erected to prevent the happy campers from returning to their most popular haunts. What's the new motto going to be? A fence in every street? So the Irish authorities are now in the crazy situation of having the government paying for tents to be given out by charities to homeless refugees, then moving in a day or two later to destroy them and move the people on. Buy shares in tent makers, people. And it looks like there will be a buoyant trade in fencing too. It's just like the socialist-type employment plan of having one set of workers being paid by the taxpayer to dig holes and another set of publicly funded workers moving in straight afterwards to fill the holes back in again. Dig, fill, get paid, repeat. Now, there are stories floating about that there is a new surge in the number of migrants heading into the Irish Republic, and that it is all the fault of Westminster and its dreaded Rwanda plan, forcing asylum seekers in the UK to seek pastures new in the Republic of Ireland, with anecdotal reports of newly arrived asylum seekers in Ireland saying they've just ferried or flown into Ireland and taken the advantage of the North-South Ireland open border to get into the Republic and avoid the risk of being deported to Rwanda. And the Republic of Ireland has recently claimed that 80 to 90% of their new arrivals are from the UK, and it is stretching their resources past their limits. And the numbers arriving have started to spark alarm with the Irish citizenry, to which the first solution was to send in the militarised police to quell the masses into submission. But that didn't work out so well 100 years ago or so with the Black and Tans in Ireland, did it? Anyway, if these Rwanda claims seem anywhere near half true, we will see many countries start serious plans to emulate the UK-Rwanda scheme across the EU. After all, some, like Italy, have already been investigating the concept. And after all its strident condemnation of the UK scheme, Ireland could find its own courts ruling that a growing number of EU countries are unsafe to send asylum seekers to because of their deportation plans. Ireland is already a magnet for companies because of its low business tax rates. It could become the new global magnet for those looking for a better chance of life, with zero risk of deportation. But the people of Ireland will prevent that ever coming to fruition, or they will try. The Irish government will soon be forced to be more robust with border control, except the North-South Ireland border, of course. And if they insist on keeping that border open across the island of Ireland, they will have to make the whole asylum package a lot less appealing. Something that will go against the grain of any truly committed woke Western government. Go woke, go broke, as they say, but in the case of a nation state, if the government goes woke, it's the people, the taxpayers, who in the end go broke. What we are more likely to see is a gradual race to the bottom of national largesse towards newcomers. Ireland will look at what they need to do to reverse the flow of people from the UK. Then the UK will have to reciprocate. It will become a battle of lowering standards for the newcomers, with human rights lawyers rubbing their grasping hands together with glee in the process. 1 minute people will be crossing from north to south across that Irish EU Joe Biden imposed Brexit red line open border, and the next they'll be retracing their steps north. And no doubt the EU will have to join in the game to prevent people attempting to get back across the English Channel. But, and here's the big but, nothing will convince anyone to go back to their homeland or not travel here in the first place if the conditions there are always going to be worse than what they encounter in the West. Especially when the likes of the WEF and the UN are basically saying it is their right to travel, to find a better life, and that it is our responsibility to give it to them. All to atone for the past sins of our forefathers over slavery and the like, and our current net zero and exploitation sins. And further, that thanking us would therefore be superfluous to requirements. No, demands, by law, must be made. And there are always the bleeding heart liberals who would break any law to let them in and give them what they demand anyway. The only options left would be to leave the ever-increasing number of them out on the streets, or build a fortress Western world with heavily fortified borders. But the lefty woke establishment would never ever allow either of those two outcomes. So they will not let such a race to the bottom to even start. No, they will ensure the borders remain open and we keep paying. So unless the people somehow make their wishes to their governments extremely clear, in letters of crayon a mile high, to have controlled borders, then open borders it is. And lots of governments squealing about how nothing can be done, and introducing lots of flashy new schemes that achieve nothing to make it look like they're doing something about it. But be in no doubt, at the end of the day, the UN and the WEF, as well as billionaires like Bill Gates, are intent on stripping away the concept of individual nations. Everyone must live under the same rules across the planet as far as they seem concerned. There is therefore no room for borders, only room for anyone to travel anywhere they want and get help on demand when they get there, irrespective of the numbers coming and the cost it imposes on those already there. And those we place in power all seem to go along with that entire concept these days. It's the civilised thing to do, they would claim. And the truth is that their civilised acts, whether they realise it or not, will destroy the rest of us, and more people are waking up to that.